have Philippines Tzu Chi volunteers hold 2 relief distributions to help fire survivors in Pasig and Caloocan City. We learn why it is important for parents and teachers to help children learn to manage their emotions. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Helen Liao. Thank you for joining us. In the Philippines, Tzu Chi volunteers held 2 relief distributions for fire survivors in Caloocan City and Pasig City. Here's more. Earlier in May, a merciless fire broke out at Barangay Sangwaki, Pasig City, affecting more than 100 households. Knowing that many survivors fled their homes without any belongings, 3 days following the incidents, Tzu Chi volunteers arrived on site with relief items. To express their gratitude, many survivors insisted on saying thank you in Chinese.
Thank you, Tzu Chi Foundation, for helping us. It means a lot to all of us.
To repay the love they have received from Tzu Chi, former conjoined twins Leah and Rachel Awol, who underwent a successful operation in Taiwan back in 2003, are here to lend a hand.
We are currently on summer holidays, so we decided to help the less fortunate by helping out at Tzu Chi's aid distribution.
We are extremely happy because we have the opportunity to help those in greater need.
Meanwhile, at Tzu Chi's relief distribution in Caloocan City, fire survivors donate bags of plastic bottles to reciprocate the NGO's kindness. Volunteers also seized the chance to explain to everyone how PET bottles can be transformed into blankets. While fire survivors Morris Ray Ray goes on stage to tell everyone the good deeds Tzu Chi has been doing in the Philippines.
The Tzu Chi Foundation is different from other organizations. Tzu Chi has provided us with a lot of relief items.
The volunteers' selfless dedication has deeply touched the hearts of survivors as everyone prays together for peace and harmony.
We are not from a Chinese background or Buddhist, but Tzu Chi volunteers still provided us with tremendous help.
I couldn't save any of our belongings because the fire broke out when my husband was at work. I had to save our son first. I hope we can recover from this incident as soon as possible.
With Tzu Chi's relief items in hand, fire survivors are no longer in despair, but have regained the strength to move on. In celebration at Dragon Boat Festival, Tzu Chi volunteers in Tainan, Taiwan recently purchased ingredients to make vegetarian sticky rice dumplings for their care recipients to wish them a happy holiday.
The recycling station is bustling with activity as Tzu Chi volunteers are busy preparing ingredients for the sticky rice dumplings. Learning of the chance to do good deeds, Pan Gui-xiang offered to cover the cost of all the ingredients.
We organized this event to wrap sticky rice dumplings for our care recipients. This is a great opportunity, so I'm very happy.
Those who enjoy wrapping rice dumplings were all invited to come help out. It's great.
Some contributed money while others contributed their strength. Working together, volunteers packed their love into these rice dumplings.
I'm very happy and so grateful.
I don't have any relatives in Taiwan. You are the closest people I have. Thank you so much for your rice dumplings.
As care recipients enjoy the sticky rice dumplings made by the volunteers, they can taste the flavor of happiness in their hearts as well.
Next we meet 83-year-old Chen Caiyue, who has been a recycling volunteer for more than 20 years. Despite suffering from multiple health problems and being wheelchair-bound, Grandma Chen still insists on going to the recycling station, rain or shine. But first we meet some devoted recycling volunteers who made good use of Dragon Boat Festival to continue their recycling mission.
At the Tzu Chi Luzhou recycling station, volunteers are sweating buckets as they sort recyclables. Despite the heat, everybody works tirelessly in the name of environmental protection.
When we saw the mountains of recyclables, we felt uncomfortable because they may turn sour easily on hot days. We need to handle them as soon as possible.
Over the previous days, it has rained quite a lot. Recycling volunteers from the other recycling points in Luzhou were unable to handle all their recyclables, so they transported them here.
As recycling trucks transport recyclables back and forth, the premise is quickly packed. However, thanks to these devoted volunteers who gave up their holidays to help out, the recyclables are quickly processed. During Dragon Ball Festival, Wu Limin joined her father in sorting recyclables rather than going out with her friends.
Here, we do as much as we can to reduce the amount of recyclables.
My father is getting old. His hair has turned gray. I just want to spend more time with him, so I've joined him in his volunteer work.
Sharing the same cause, the father-daughter pair shows their care and love towards Mother Nature, while at the same time ensuring a cleaner environment for generations to come.
This knee joint has gone through 3 operations.
This is Grandma Chen Caiyue, another devoted recycling volunteer who insists on sorting recyclables regardless of her physical challenges.
In the early days, I washed out formula tins and the Dharma masters would use them as candle holders.
Actually, Grandma Chen has been a recycling volunteer for over 20 years. Now 83, she still insists on visiting the recycling station on a regular basis despite her health problems.
Doing recycling can bring my family blessings and peace. Now my family are all Tzu Chi volunteers.
Not only has Grandma Chen's family joined as Tzu Chi volunteers, but her foreign caregiver is also learning to sort recyclables as well.
White ones go together. Stuff with the same color goes together.
Regardless of illness and limited mobility, Grandma Chen continues to find comfort in doing recycling.
Joining Tzu Chi makes me happy. Here, I learn kindness, compassion, joy, and giving. Staying humble and being selfless is the key to happiness.
To help residents in Paraguay brave the cold, some 200 Tzu Chi volunteers in Taiwan's northern district have worked around the clock to make Tzu Chi's eco-friendly blankets. This time around, the volunteers aim to make 20,000 blankets for the upcoming winter aid distributions in Paraguay.
These blankets are being prepared for disaster survivors. If we can organize them properly and cover the threads, they will look tidier and nicer.
Here at the Tzu Chi Nehu grounds, nearly 200 Tzu Chi volunteers have been working around the clock to make eco-friendly blankets. Several of them travel long distances to help, with the farthest coming from Keelung.
Many of these volunteers are older. Some senior volunteers from Keelung suffer from soreness in the feet or feel ill, but they still cherish this opportunity to help.
Over the past week, these volunteers have been working day and night to make 20,000 blankets, which will then be delivered to Paraguay in South America for upcoming winter aid distributions.
In Paraguay, the temperature in the day can reach 30 to 40 degrees Celsius, while at night it drops to 0. So the residents there need blankets to keep warm. They need our Tzu Chi brothers and sisters' love and warmth.
Over 100 volunteers are hard at work in their assigned section. Volunteer Yang Weiting from Keelung's Nuan Nuan is also here to do his part despite his hand injury.
Master Zhen Yan says we need to make extra efforts to garner blessings, so we cherish each and every chance to do good deeds. Though my right hand has 27 stitches, it's already getting better. Besides, my left hand can still work.
After hours of work, volunteers at the packaging area are sweating buckets. However, no one takes a break.
I'm here to help without expecting anything in return and have gained much joy in the process.
It's a wonderful thing to pay our love forward to the needy in Paraguay. I am truly blessed to have this opportunity to do something on others' behalf.
Cherishing the opportunity to give, these devoted volunteers gain immeasurable joy and at the same time extend a great love to those in need on behalf of the people in Taiwan.
Apart from its beautiful appearance, the lily has long been an integral part of the life and culture of the Rukai tribe. For members of the indigenous Rukai tribe, the lily is a sacred symbol of nobility and holiness. Their love and respect for the flower has also meant that the flower has become a symbol of social order and ethics for the Rukai.
Whenever there is an important occasion, members of the Rukai tribe come dressed in their traditional clothing. The elegant headdress worn by Rukai women features beads, adornments, and most importantly, lilies.
The lily is our tribal flower. It is a sacred symbol of holiness.
Only noble and virtuous women can wear a headdress adorned with lilies.
A married Rukai woman would wear a headdress decorated with lilies and some red flowers. However, one that is not yet betrothed would wear a headdress of white lilies only.
When I was younger, I also used to wear one. I'd wrap a cloth around my head and wear it like this the entire time. It's a tradition and it's truly beautiful.
Headdresses adorned with lilies are sacred symbols of nobility and holiness. For women, it is a sign of virtue and chastity, while men had to prove themselves able warriors and hunters to acquire the right to wear the lily.
A Rukai man must have killed at least 5 boars before he can wear lilies.
Highly esteemed Rukai elder He Weihao jokingly says, even at 82, he has yet to earn his privilege to wear the white lily flower.
For instance, I myself am not qualified to wear a lily. Seeing so many people having earned it rightfully, I'm full of admiration.
The Rukai's love and respect for the flower is carried through to their traditional costumes. The lily is also central to the tribe's social order and customs.
I am standing in Baihe tribe. Totems can also be seen on the houses in the villages, or with a rich design featuring the lily.
看到这百合花就很高兴啊，这样啊。为什么？从小就是对这个百合花对。
For the Rukai tribe, the lily is not only of symbolic importance, but has long been an integral part of everyday life and of cultural ceremonies. While traditional artifacts are admired for their beauty, traditional culture, however, has slowly degenerated. The lily headdresses sold by vendors can be bought and worn by anyone. It seems much of the traditional Rukai culture has been lost with the times.
It was once regarded as sacred and holy. However, with the passing of time, these customs have become distorted, but we are working hard to revive them.
Although customs and traditions have been reinterpreted by tribal youth over the years, their roots and the way of their ancestors, however, are deeply imprinted in their hearts.
The way of life of our elders and the customs of our rituals, these are all things we need to preserve.
A mother places a lily headdress on her 7-year-old daughter's head. Surrounded as they are by a sea of pure white lilies, the flower will forever remain a source of courage and beauty for the Rukai tribe.
As news of youth across the globe hurting themselves and others continue to surface, we cannot help but wonder what could have been done to prevent such tragedies. In Taiwan, more and more young people are choosing suicide to cope with school pressures or relationship problems. In our new series, we explore the subject of emotional management. Before, when my big brother took my things, I would cry.
Unable to cope with her 2 children's emotional outbursts, The young Mrs. Tzu was at a loss until she learned about emotional management.
如果你微笑的时候，
When you smile, will you feel happy or not happy? Happy, right? So what do you think will happen if you try to smile when you're in a bad mood? When you do this exercise, it helps relax your facial muscle, right? That way you won't be as nervous and can smile easier.
Before, I would stay mad forever, but now I practice the deep breathing techniques Mom taught me.
As it turns out, we can learn to control our emotional response through training.
那我觉得他们
The transformations have come slowly, but I think they have made significant progress in trying to control their emotions.
Mrs. Tzu believes emotional management is more important than test scores, for a good EQ can help a person for life. Mrs. Tzu currently volunteers at her children's school, the famed DaAi Elementary of Taipei. There, she hopes to help all students develop good EQ. A drawing that resembles a horse is certainly a frog when the drawing is rotated 90 degrees.
When you try to see things from another person's perspective, you will realize that he or she sees a different picture, and therefore your opinions will differ.
Though the principles sound simple, it is difficult for children to comprehend. Studies show that in Taiwan, 60% of students 8th grade and under are troubled by academic pressure and interpersonal relationships, while suicide is the second leading cause of death in youth 15 to 24 years old.
The biggest emotional obstacle children face is a low tolerance for setbacks. Perhaps this is due to our low birth rate.
Specializing in parents-children relationships, Yang Li-rong believes a lot of social problems can trace their roots back to poor EQ.
If I hadn't learned about EQ management, I probably would have treated my children in the same way. My earliest experiments with EQ management were carried out in my own home. Only then did I realize that children rarely can be taught how to apply the techniques, so I wanted to share them with my community.
Ms. Yang's program quickly expanded to the greater Taipei area and even to Taoyuan and Hsinchu.
I have learned quite a lot in return from my son. This is a cycle of positive energy, a cycle of love.
For over a decade, over 5,000 classrooms across Taiwan have adopted the EQ program, benefiting over 150,000 students.
Nowadays, most families only have one child, so children are now more self-centered. Through the EQ class, I discovered that children can become less opinionated and become more empathetic of others.
Just like any lesson, learning begins at home and at school. As parents and teachers help children to learn to manage their emotions, they are also enriching their own lives, creating a cycle of positivity that will benefit all of society.
To help this in greater need, the Tzu Chi Indonesia chapter joined hands with China Trust Banking Corporation's Indonesia branch to establish a new banking program. Each month, 0.5% of the monthly savings of those that enrolled in the program will be donated to help the less fortunate. But first, we go to Dharma Bodhi Bhakti School, where students gather to donate their bamboo coin banks. This is the scene at the Dharma Bodhi Bhakti School. Today, the Tzu Chi Foundation and the Yayang Sangkaya Dharma Bhakti Foundation are holding an event where students gather to donate their bamboo coin banks.
This is a noble event, although we are only donating a little to help those in greater need. Our gestures can bring everyone closer together.
I want to donate my bamboo coin bank. It is great that the money I saved can help the less fortunate.
500 students from kindergarten to high school happily donate the money they have saved in their bamboo coin banks to the Buddhist NGO.
Karena kami juga ingin supaya anak-anak
We want to encourage children to donate their love. It is great to do one good deed per day. This event helps children learn of the importance of helping those in greater need.
tahu celengan bambu ini sangat baik.
to give more people the chance to help the less fortunate. The Tzu Chi Indonesia chapter and the China Trust Banking Corporation's Indonesia branch joined hands and established a new program in which 0.5% of account holders' monthly savings will be donated.
Salah satu inspirasi saya juga sebenarnya adalah
Tzu Chi's Bamboo Coin Bank inspired me to come up with this program. When we met the Tzu Chi Foundation, the organization had already been helping the less fortunate by inspiring members of the public to adopt bamboo coin banks.
melalui celengan bambu.
We have benefited from society, so we need to give back. I hope this new program will spread far and wide.
Thanks to the new banking program, members of the public now have another way to help those in need. Indonesia, Tzu Chi has been tending to those in need for 21 years. Over the years, the National Armed Forces has slowly become the NGO's greatest partner in charity, helping volunteers and their supplies get to disaster site promptly. To officially seal the partnership, the Armed Forces signed an MOU with Indonesia Tzu Chi chapter.
Situated on the equator, Indonesia has long been troubled by natural disasters. In this year alone, the country has already faced flooding, volcano eruptions, and earthquakes. Thankfully, angels clad in blue and white uniform always appear promptly, assisted by the Indonesian National Armed Forces. Volunteers can always get to those in need.
After Mount Caloocan erupted, 230 patients have already received treatment here. This includes those from our township clinics and those who cannot be hospitalized. They can all come here for treatment.
To officially seal their years of seamless collaboration, the National Armed Forces decided to sign an MOU with Tzu Chi.
The Tzu Chi Foundation has done much to help Indonesia and improve citizens' quality of life. The country's entrepreneurs have been empowered to step up and join the Angke River cleanup project. DaAi villages have been built to house thousands of citizens. I believe the foundation and our armed forces share one common goal and destiny.
The signing of the MOU received major media coverage. For the next 3 years, besides emergency aid, Tzu Chi will continue to provide humanitarian assistance, promote environmental conservation, and award scholarships to med students.
We take this opportunity to express our deepest gratitude to the armed forces for their continuous and unwavering support over the years. Not only did they help resolve the transportation problems by dispatching airplanes and trucks so we may reach the disaster site, personnel were also dispatched to help with our distributions. We hope to work even closer together in the future.
Volunteers also seized the opportunity to introduce Tzu Chi to more people. Hopefully, the armed forces will always be there to support Tzu Chi's cause in the country.
We go back to Taiwan at the end of the show, as the annual training seminar for overseas volunteers is just around the corner. Nearly 500 volunteers gather at the Tzu Chi Banqiao grounds in New Taipei City to give the space a thorough cleanup. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.